Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Electric Vibe. I am your co-host, Kurt Hoffman, and to my left.
J. David Silva, aka the Electric Man.
All right, so this is officially episode number 1, and we have special guest or two coming on the podcast today. So, Jay, you want to tell us who we're going to have today?
Well, I don't want to, spoil any secrets, but today we do have the great Ricky Freeze Smith coming on the show, and we're also going to have a possible special guest with Mr. Tori Freak Juice Ruffin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. These two gentlemen happen to be on this fine shirt I got combination called Frozen Juice. So they both are Schecter guitar. They're promoting that particular company, but I know they've both been playing that brand of guitar for a minute. They've been playing their brand for a long time.
Absolutely.
So they're sponsored by Schecter, and I bet one of the questions that would no doubt come up when we get if and when we get both of them on. I think Tori says he's going to try to come on midway in the podcast when we actually start. So this is our kind of pre-show before the whole thing begins. So if you want to fast forward about a half hour from here, that's when Ricky's going to come on. But this is a kind of a pre-show stuff. So to get to know who we are and why we're here and how the hell the two of us hook up and all that stuff. So I'll start my version of it very briefly. So Jay over here messaged me, commented on my Facebook posts and what have you. May have even commented on the YouTube page when it was just the Purple Kurt podcast. And, for a long time, I had been contemplating changing this up and having a co-host on. And I had an attempt at that. And that kind of fell by the wayside and didn't work out the way I had planned it. And you and I had been commenting back and forth and what have you. And just one day I said, you know what, let me call this guy. Because I just had a certain vibe. There was a certain chemistry there. I could tell something was working. And you and I have similar backgrounds where I grew up in 4 years of my life and went to high school in Connecticut. We've had an icebreaker video about this already, but in case anybody hasn't watched that and are starting, this is your beginning of watching us. Jay, you want to take over from there?
Sure. And, we have a saying that we use, when the universe comes knocking, you've got to answer that door. And so
Yep.
we had a lot of synergies and a lot of similarities in terms of our tastes and likes and some of the things that we were posting.
Yeah.
And so when we had that first telephone call, it was like a Sunday night, I think at like 8:30 after I had commented on a post,
Right.
we started to get to know each other, started to talk about similar backgrounds, similarities in our lives. And then it just very organically came together as to maybe we can work together and kind of share similar experiences with the public, and it just kind of grew from there, and it's been
Yes, it did.
kind of off to the races ever since. Just a wonderful journey.
And then, wouldn't you know it, we ended up going on a trip together from separate. We had four different people coming from 3 different airports. And my friend Lori from Philly, who I met on a SEPTA train ride, our local Philadelphia community public transportation here. I have a Wednesday night gig about 10 months out of the year, actually 9 months out of the year. And I was on my way on a Wednesday night. I saw this gal with a Prince symbol ball cap on, and we just talked and just hit it up and stuff. And I said, well, someday I'm going to get you to the Mecca, Paisley Park, Minneapolis. We'll see some sights. We'll meet some people. And my friend Kirsten, who's having had a 51st birthday celebration. We were to have done this last year, but that got cut by the wayside because she was having some health issues. And then you decided to rewrote your entire schedule, travel and everything, and you decided to come on board with us and come to Paisley Park the time we were coming.
Right.
So that was a great trip.
It really was. And again, when the call comes, you have to answer it.
Yep.
And in a matter of an hour, I think I decided to join the trip, make the arrangements, get in touch with you, get the tickets for the Paisley Park tour,
Yeah.
and go. And obviously the trip turned out to be so much more than that. The trip really turned out to be very enlightening. We did a lot
Yep.
more things than just visit Paisley Park and First Avenue and some of the,
Yes.
sights and sounds associated with Prince. But it really turned into more of a community and, dare I say it, spiritual journey, I
Yep.
think, as
No,
well.
no question. I said I said to you and I said to others that this ended up being less of a pilgrimage and more of a retreat.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, and I think I know Lori had expressed that she would have liked to have done more sites the day that we met. And certain things that she didn't get to see. I said, listen, you're coming back to this area. This is
Right.
not going to be the first time you're coming back. And then, some slight disappointments in that regard. And I get it. I get it, especially when it's your first time and you feel like you're never going to see this again,
Sure.
you know. But we ended up spending a lot, actually spent the whole day
Yeah.
down at the George Floyd Epicenter with our buddy Marquise Bowie. Shout out to brother Marquise and the Minnesota Agape movement. And we got to spend time with the folks that run the Sabatani Community Center, which used to be the old Bryant Junior High, which is where Prince and Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and all of them went to high school, or excuse me, went to middle school because Central High School was where they went to after
Right.
after going to Bryant. But that middle school had become repurposed to this community center, and Marquise got us out of the neighborhood where Cup Foods was and all the rest that had happened and say, hey, let me show you guys the rest of the area and show you what we're all about and show you all the good that we're doing and because their motto is transforming street energy into community energy.
Absolutely. And that's really what I took from the trip as well. One of
Yeah.
the most impactful things was the community, the sense of community, the sense of what these gentlemen are trying to do in the community to end the violence, to promote a positive culture and a positive way of life for young brothers and sisters, and to make sure that the lessons and the trials and tribulations that they went through are communicated to keep people from falling into some of the same traps that they did. So it was a very, very emotional journey,
Yeah.
I think, for us,
Yeah.
very spiritual, very eye-opening, but also very uplifting, because to see a community come together and to see people come together for the good of their fellow man, especially in these troubled times that we're living with
Oh Lord,
and
yes.
living in,
Yeah.
it was
And
definitely
then as a result of our meeting with him, we were invited to his fundraiser dinner that they had on Saturday that we were
right
there.
at the Elliott Hotel. Yeah,
Ended
still
up meeting with Spike Moss, who is been a civil rights activist in the Minneapolis area for decades,
decades.
decades, and
Of course,
also
Rondo,
Police
Arredondo.
Commissioner Rondo. He goes by his nickname.
Mhm. And
And he
if
chopped
I
it
can
up
just
with
say,
us, and I believe we're going to have him. We're all three gentlemen, Marquise, Spike, and former Commissioner Rondo, have all expressed interest in coming on the podcast
absolutely.
with us. So you can look forward to that. But then we got to do other, things. We experienced some of the nightlife at the time that we were down at that. This was the week after the official Prince Estate Prince celebration from the 20th to the 24th. We got there on the 27th, and all flew back to our respective homes on July 1st. And I got COVID after the whole thing, but that's a story for another day. And I still have a little bit of a dry cough that I'm there.
You know what, Kurt, now that we've kind of talked about the purple pilgrimage and we kind of
Yeah.
intro the electric vibe, maybe we should just talk about what people can expect from the electric vibe,
Oh,
from this
please.
podcast and from this forum. And for
Yeah.
me, I want people to know that, yes, we are going to have a number of guests from a variety of different realms. We're going to have people from entertainment and from law and education, fashion, executive protection, and obviously from the world of Prince. I mean, we can't shy away from that because that is
No.
theme for us, and there's going to be
Mhm.
musicians that come on and people that worked with Prince. But the thing I think that I want to communicate is that whereas some of the topics that we have, not everyone's going to agree with, there's going to be some controversial subjects that we have to talk about, but people need to know that this podcast and this forum is a safe space, and everybody's voice, it will be heard. I think it's great to have conversations. It's, having these types of conversations,
Yeah.
even if we all don't agree, you know, fosters community. It fosters change. And so guests on this show and people that want to write in and come in, your voice will be heard. And we're just looking forward to interacting with you. And quite frankly, at the very, very basic level, just kind of making this world a better place through this small thing that we're doing.
It's a grassroots thing, and if we can be a small but impactful part of that, that's where we're at. Because you and I had this conversation that I think that this became something much deeper than just talking about Prince Associates.
Right.
And not that there's anything wrong with that. We love our Prince podcasts that are out there. Shout out to Podcast Juice, the podcast on Prince by Michael Dean. Prince's friend, my
Utopia.
buddy Eloy Lasanta, Chris Johnson, the Purple Knights podcast. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Oh, and let me not forget Funkatopia, who are just absolutely killing it right
Killing.
now.
That's right. And I'm going to give a special shout out to Musicians Reveal and my blood
Yes.
brother, Joe Kelly.
Yeah, Joe.
And we have to, he's kind of helped
Yeah.
also with Funkatopia and a lot of the other content creators out there kind of set the stage for, what people are doing. So got to give a shout out to Joe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we got 15 minutes here before our guest comes on. So, what are some of your takeaways besides? I mean, I tell you, first of all, let's talk about the weather that was there. So the circumstance. First of all, let me add this. So when we were there, I was going to say that the week that we were there, the U.S. Olympic gymnastics trials were going on downtown, and LGBTQIA Pride was going on all at the same time that we were doing our trip there. And so Saturday night we all Kirsten bought us tickets to go to the whatever the show was called, the Clituation. Yeah, God help us with the name
God
of that.
help us with that.
And it was something. We saw some gal do a pole art presentation, singing and stuff like that. I mean, you got to have some upper body strength for that. But
And
I
this
think
was
all of us felt,
First Avenue and 7th Street entry.
yeah, your guys' first time, my second time inside there. But yeah, you want to fill them in how old we felt when we got in there.
I think that we're past the dance party stage, I think, in our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we walked in there and there's this EDM music, and it wasn't bad, but it was definitely a different vibe that we were all used to. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what the hell's going on here?
And it was just packed. But the thing that I really took away from that is I loved being with so many diverse different types of people.
Yes.
It literally, to borrow a cliche, black, white, straight, gay, transgender, what have you,
Yep.
it didn't matter. It was just a collective group of all different people. And it just being in that, the vibe and the energy was off the charts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so and that was definitely, and we had to get a little creative with parking. So if everybody knows, Kirsten really kind of got us somewhere where semi legitimate. There is this new mural that looks like this comic book art, like a comic strip, comic book art type thing, and it has quotes from "Baby I'm a Star," Prince's "Baby I'm a Star." So we kind of parked over there and walked into the club and said, "Is the car going to be okay?" "Yeah, the car's going to be fine." I mean, it's just a rental car. What could go wrong?
It could go
And
wrong.
actually, nothing did go wrong.
We were lucky.
Yeah, let me.
But driving over the curb,
let me tell you. Let me knock.
driving over the sidewalk and the curb to get there was a little sketchy, but we made it.
Yeah, dude, can you do me a favor? Can you check to see if your noise suppression is enabled or disabled? I want to make sure that.
Yep, I should be good.
Okay, cool. Because then I was talking. When I would cut you off, I just want to make sure I don't cut you off.
Thank you. I
Sure we don't
appreciate
cut
that.
Ricky off either. Yeah. Try to get that deep bass voice, man.
There you go.
I don't have it. I don't have it like you have it. I don't. Guy's got the great speaking voice here. So, yeah, I mean, and there's so much more we could go into, but Paisley Park, of course. I really liked the presentation. When I went there 2 years ago, comparing to what I had seen at that point, they did not have the shoe display out there. And quite frankly, I didn't miss it. I'm glad I got to see the shoe display when I saw it. And they had some diamonds and pearls themed exhibitions there, Randy St. Nicholas photo shoots and stuff like that. But this was obviously, the 40th anniversary of Purple Rain, and you definitely had sights and backdrops and things that definitely were themed for that specifically.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I think
there was a new room, the interactive, like an interactive table, and that you could touch, and certain articles would pop up on the thing. It was really cool. But our tour guide Tommy, shout out to Tommy, man. He was fantastic.
he really
Late
was.
in his late 60s, has some real personal stories about having gone to celebrations when Prince was still alive, some of the dance parties that Prince would host, all kinds of stuff. It was really quite cool.
Yeah, and I think we need to give a shout out, I think, to everyone at Paisley Park. The tour
Yes,
was very organized. Everyone was very polite. The
yeah,
security there is tight as it should be, but very, very professional. Big shout out to Batman, Craig Banham,
Craig.
head of security at Paisley Park, who took
Yes,
time with us, and he protected Prince and protected a bunch of other celebrities, but just a
yeah.
down to earth gentleman. Spent a lot of time with us, just telling us stories and giving us a lot of information. And then his colleagues that were there guarding the doors and things, everyone, from the people at the concierge desk to security to the Tommy, the tour guide, it was just a first class operation. Very, very grateful for that opportunity.
Oh, yeah. I and with Jeff Horseman, we have to give
Yep.
Jeff a shout out too, because Jeff kind of hooked us up with Batman.
He did.
Not kind of. He hooked us up with that.
He hooked us
And
up with
Jeff,
that. Yep.
as as Minnesota nice as you possibly can get. There is this expression, Minnesota nice, and Jeff was the epitome of that.
And if I can just, kind of expound on something we talked about earlier, that's how
Yeah,
Jeff and I met. We hadn't met, obviously. I'm here in Connecticut. He's out there in Minnesota. And I had sent him a friend request. And I remember he
yeah.
sent me a message and he said, I don't usually accept friend requests from strangers. He said, but there was something about you, or he liked my posts and things like that. And then we just connected. We just hit it off. And whenever Jeff goes to a show, he always thinks of me. He sent me, merchandise from shows, from when Jelly Bean had his, Nothing Compares to P performance. Jeff sent me, some swag and some drumsticks and things. He's always just been a gentleman, always thinking of
Always.
his fellow, his fellow Prince fans, his fellow friends. And, I can't say enough. He's just a good, good man.
And he got to break bread with us at Biaggi's in Maple Grove
Indeed.
with Hucky Austin.
The Austin,
Speaking
right?
of bodyguards, executive protection master, and his lovely wife Toya, who joined us, and you got to really chop it up with Hucky,
I
and
did. It was
ask him
good.
some cool questions, and we are going to have Hucky on at
We
at
are.
some point as well.
Absolutely. And he had some great stories from the time, but just a very down to earth, humble man. Shared some great stories about the 9 years that he spent protecting Prince and
Oh
working
yeah.
with Prince. And so, we appreciate his and Toya's time as well. And then let me give a shout out also to DJ Michael Holtz and his lovely
Yes.
wife, Rose, who invited us into their home.
Oh yeah.
Share their experiences. Michael told some great stories about DJing at Paisley Park when Prince was still alive, and then some of the events that he's done since. And so we're very grateful for their hospitality as well.
Oh, absolutely. No question. Michael's a great guy. And actually Michael had sent me some video footage of the goings on at a Taste of Minnesota when Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis performed, and they had a whole co-host of, they had two people from Sounds of Blackness, uh, uh, American Idol winner Ruben Studdard was on there. He actually sang "The Human League's Human," which was great. I mean, he did a great job. There's some other guests that were on there, and it looks like Jam and Lewis are going to take it out on the road as well. So there, I noticed that Freeze had put on his page. Oh, and speaking of which, ladies and gentlemen, we have at into the waiting room. Let him wait a minute. Let's wait a minute. Let that just percolate for a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. We've
Well,
got a very special guest. I'm going to put our theme music on.
and then I'll do my intro. Very
All
good.
right, here we go. All right. And here he comes in, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ricky Freeze Smith. Take it away, Jay.
Our first guest on the Electric Vibes podcast is a performer, producer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist. This gentleman has worked with an impressive array of artists from Leon Sylvers III and the Sylvers to Billy Preston, Dynasty, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Prince and Morris Day, and that's just to name a few. Now, as if those accomplishments weren't enough, this gentleman also has his own signature bass, the Freezicle, in production through a partnership with Schecter Guitars, and is also an entrepreneur, having created and produced his own line of signature barbecue sauce, Uncle Ricky's Bold and Smoky Barbecue Sauce. It is our distinct pleasure to have on the Electric Vibe Ricky Freeze Smith.
Yay. And at the moment, he is trying to get himself on here, but we'll wait. So yeah, we've got quite a journey we have to navigate through his illustrious career, man.
Yes,
We're talking
we're talking decades, 5 decades of music and entertainment.
There he is. Ricky, if you can hear us, you can take yourself off mute there, sir. All right, I'm going to ask him to unmute. And we're going to pause this.
So it'll be
okay.
Ricky, thank you so much for coming on the Electric Vibe. We appreciate you here, man. How you doing today?
Doing well, thank you. How are you?
I cannot complain. Blessed and highly favored. If the recording button had worked earlier as you were getting into your history of being a church musician and being with your mom and Billy Preston, I would have been even better. But hey, now we got this thing working like a plan. So recently, we're going to get into your history here in just a moment. Jay, you're gonna handle that one. Recently, you were performing at the Taste of Minnesota. Right, but preceding that, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis were performing, and then came on stage with all you guys and Morris Day and the Time. How was that whole thing?
It was great. It was really great, to have them come up and play with us along with Jerome. We were all like kids, man. It was great. It was fun. No egos involved. Something that we're doing that we love to do. And it's great to see the fans still love us. They love the originals. And so for all of us to kind of come together, the originals and the current lineup, the fans have been great in regards to accepting us and still supporting Morris Day and Jam and Lewis. I mean, man, I love them. I love them. And then let me add this. I met Jimmy and Terry back in 1982.
Too, right.
And so it was right after they left or was let go from the Time. And, they came out to LA and I met them with Leon Sylvers and so we were all together, before they really started their career. So it was great. But the Taste of Minnesota was awesome. Minneapolis was off the chain.
That's great.
Man. I almost wish we had been there because we were there the week before doing our Purple Pilgrimage. Ended up being more like a Purple Retreat, but it just looked like you could tell it was just so palpable. Just some of the video clips people had posted that you had posted, that you guys were just having a blast. I mean, you and Jam together there. I'm sorry, Terry, just double bubble on the bass there, man. I mean, just
Yeah, I mean, we love it, and we play this music the same like we were told to play it. Mm-hmm. And God bless Prince, man, you know what I'm saying? But we play those parts how we want them to be played. So when Terry and I play together, we're playing the same thing identically. Sometimes I might just kind of let him take over and I'll just hit certain notes and just play around them. But, we have fun playing together, man. It's really a blast. You don't really see that often, two bass players playing without clashing, but playing. So it's great, man. I love Terry, man.
Yeah, and you definitely learned one thing from Prince, that less is more when you're playing. I mean, you'd posted recently about how don't put too many ghost notes in there. Keep it simple, especially when you're in a bigger arena.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just overall in general. With music. I mean, there's a time to solo and time to put all the stuff that we know of, we learn, but when playing together with musicians, everybody has their place. You know, the drummer, bass player, keyboards, you know, horns, guitar, everybody, you know. And so when everybody overplays, then it just sounds jumbled. And so I highly respect it. I took it as a compliment from Prince to, you know, come up to me and pull me to the side and say, hey man, you know, too many ghost notes. So if you do it like this, you know, and it was great. I mean, this was his music, man. And, you know, he's at the mixing board mixing the sound. I'm like, oh, wow. I said, my bass is loud. So, so
was this the 2000 Forever tour that happened on?
No, that was the Musicology.
Okay, cool.
That was 2004.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, yeah, and so, you know, he always mixed our show, well, along with our engineer. And so he wanted to hear it how he wanted to hear it. And you know, I guess during sound check, he decided to hit the solo button. And I'm playing, I'm like, okay, wow, I'm kind of loud in the house. And, you know, but that's just who he was, man. He was a perfectionist, and we all love him for that, man. Yeah.
That's great. Freeze, having said that, and with some of these experiences, all these experiences that you've had over the years, can you take us back to when you first started, you know, when you started out in church, and, you know, kind of tell how that shaped your musical evolution?
Yeah, well, I mean, church is really who I am, you know, playing with my mother and along with her in church all of my younger years, you know, from 8 on up really to my 20s. And so it really just helped me understand the feeling of music, you know, because as you know, gospel has such a feel to it, you know, so I always carry that into wherever I played, you know, or I'm playing. And so it playing with her and playing the drums, I'm a drummer. I'm really a drummer. I'm not a bass player, or, I mean, I play the bass, I play the keyboards, you know, but I'm a drummer. And so most people don't know that. And so that's really, you know, my instrument that I'm comfortable on. I can get on it right now, and it might be a little dusty, but I can still get on it and play, you know. So
who were your influences as a drummer beyond church?
Probably when I was coming up, I'm probably gonna say like David Garibaldi, Billy Cobham, Lenny White, Steve Gadd. I mean, it's a list of drummers, man.
Steve Gadd, man, come on.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I came up in a time where, you know, we bought the records based on who was playing on them.
Right.
So if Steve Gadd was playing on Steely Dan, then I'm buying Steve, because Steve Gadd, you know, is playing on it, or, you know, and so all those drummers were the ones that influenced me, you know, but I was really more kind of a funk drummer, if you will, you know, and so I mean, you know, I was flashy, but I really like just more laying in the pocket. That's what I enjoyed the most.
Right.
I mean, you share a parallel there with Morris, because he is a hell of a drummer. That's how he started. And Dave Garibaldi was his guy as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have chopped it up more than once about that.
Yeah, well, you know, Morris, Prince, you know, we all kind of grew up on the same music. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
All of us, you know what I'm saying? And so we all listened to Larry Graham, Sly and the Family Stone, and Tower of Power, and Santana. And so we all have those influences. And so everyone just sort of kind of adapted what they wanted to their sound. You know, it's like Prince. I mean, he adapted a lot of different people to his sound, and that's what made his sound. You know what I mean? So, but we all grew up on the same thing. Nothing no different.
That's great. So, Freeze, being primarily a drummer, then how did you start to branch out into then the keyboards and the bass? Was that a natural progression for you, or was it something that you really just wanted to do?
No, it was natural. It was natural. I mean, we always had instruments in the house, you know, always had a piano, and always, my mother purchased an organ. And so when she got the Hammond organ, I was so in love with it, you know, because of being around Preston, you know, I kind of want to play the organ. So
Yeah.
the organ became next.
Okay.
I played organ with her in church. And so that was kind of like my thing, was really organ keyboards. Bass was last, you know, that was later. You know what I'm saying? It was the drums and the organ. And then so and I just love the organ. It's just such a beautiful instrument, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I mean, you got the bass pedals, you got the, you know, the keys, and knowing how to set the preset. So it's you know, I just picked it up, man. It was in the house. I had nothing but to play it.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm a church musician as well. I was for over 30 years, so I get it. I mean, you know, I used to work with an organist who had a 5-manual rank, Zimbelstern, every bell and whistle you possibly could. And when you just get those 32-foot bass pedals, go.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing like it. But you worked with a Hammond. Was it a B3?
Oh, well, I had a B3 and I had a C2.
Okay.
And so C2 is like in the church cabinet. That's the only difference. Just
okay.
And then
no Leslie cabinets.
Oh no! Yeah, you can't play Hammond without Leslie now.
No, you can't.
You got to have that 122. So I had that, you know, yeah. So it was crazy. So my mom had her organ in the living room, and then I had a B3 and a Leslie in my bedroom. So I was rolling out of bed on the organ, and during that time, I had Billy Preston. He had a group called the God Squad.
Okay.
All keyboard players. And I had them all over at my mom's house. And it was, I can't even tell you what that was like, man, to just see these guys in my mom's home playing. And so when they left there, I was like, let me go see what I can remember and try to play.
So, I mean, what a journey, but the fact that with Billy Preston, I mean, Billy Preston, and if people don't know, they need to ask somebody, because, you know, here's a guy that, you know, grew up in the church, you know, and then had an immense solo career. You know, Nothing from Nothing Means Nothing, co-wrote You Are So Beautiful, which Joe Cocker would later make a hit, but, you know, he was a fifth Beatle, extra member of the Rolling Stones. I mean, Eric Clapton called him all the time to play with him up till his death, untimely death. But I mean, he's one of the greats.
Yeah, I mean, and I can't even tell you in words my love for him and being around him, you know, and I mean, I saw George Harrison. I was kind of young, but I saw George Harrison. I really didn't. I knew who he was, but not really.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I would
Sure.
see these people around, you know what I mean? And because I think it was 1968, I think when they did the concert on the top of the roof. And so around that, I kind of knew, and so I was still young, so I wasn't, you know, Beatles, you know, it's like Billy Preston was the man to me.
Right.
But anyway, yeah, man, only thing I could say, man, you know, is what a gift he was, and you know, and his influence, where he's influenced so many people. You know what I mean? And I mean, I hear him today. I remember, I'll share this with you. I was at Paisley Park, and I happened to be in one of the rooms where, you know, Prince would watch videos and stuff, and so I saw a VHS of Midnight Special, and it was Billy Preston. And I was told that, you know, he watched that frequently, you know, and I can kind of hear it in his music. Even when he first started, I'm like, okay, I'm hearing it, the influence, you know what I mean? Because it was sort of the gospel thing in what he did, and he just turned it into the funk thing, man. But he had that thing down, man.
I think of the Sign of the Times concert video right before Hot Thing, and he gets on his Hammond B3 and starts jamming out a little bit on that, and you can hear the runs and stuff like that, and go, oh, okay,
right,
I see where that's coming from. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I tell you, nothing beats a B3 with those Leslies on full vibration. Just what a sound!
Absolutely.
But, so now, keeping it in the religious pocket, tell us a little bit about your association with the Reverend James Cleveland, the godfather of gospel.
Yeah. We were, my mom and them were all in the same circle, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And so when my mom's group did concerts, James Cleveland's choir would perform. So I was still on drums, and Billy Preston was still on organ. And so when James Cleveland came up and his choir came out and performed, we're still playing. So Billy just, he just fell in, and being a drummer, I just fell in, and so being around Reverend Cleveland was a great, great honor. And then as I got older, I worked with him on a project that he was doing of the solo artist, and I was playing the organ. And so anyway, I called myself being Billy Preston, trying to play the chops or whatever, And then he pulled me to the side. He said, "You playing too much." And I said, "Oh, really?" He said, "Simplicity is the key." And when he said that to me, it stuck. It was like, simple is always going to be best, And so to hear that from him, I mean, I just carried that on when I went into songwriting, and always kept my structure of writing songs very simple, and then going into eventually adding more stuff. But simple is best, But he was great, man.
That's great. That's a wonderful story. Freeze, can you talk a little bit now about how your association with Leon Sylvers and the Sylvers, and into Dynasty and things like that, and how that that trajectory came about?
Yeah, it was 1977. Well, actually, my friend, brother, should I say, Kevin Spencer, was playing with the Sylvers at the time, who I kind of grew up with him. So when he got the gig with the Sylvers, they needed another keyboard player. And so I got the gig playing keyboards with them. And that was 1978 that we started doing shows, and I was traveling with them. We were doing a lot of concerts just in the States.
Okay.
And around maybe 1978, 79, the Sylvers went self-contained. And so they got rid of the band. And so Ricky Sylvers picked up the guitar. Foster was on bass. Patricia was on keyboards. Jonathan was on keyboards. And I played the drums. And so we toured, and that went on for about a good year, because Leon had left the group.
Mm-hmm.
And so Leon wasn't there. Mm-hmm. So Leon had gone on and had started working with Solar Records back in '78. I think that was around the time when they did Take That to the Bank, Shalimar,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And they, not long after that, came Second Time Around, which is, I think, around maybe '78, '79 when that was recorded. And so
he took over. So it's Solar Records, Sound of Los Angeles Records, for those who don't know. I mean, that's that basic thing, 101, you've got to know that. Came out of Soul Train Records, right? So because Don Cornelius was no longer interested in running a record label. So, you were in that time when Solar was just getting started, right? You just managed to get in there within a year or two of them getting started.
Yeah, well, I had, after the Sylvers wasn't really working as much, and Kevin had gone on. Kevin Spencer, who was the lead singer in Dynasty, went on and started. He wrote Take That to the Bank. So he was like, Rick, man, come on over, man, and do some writing and just play with us, And so that's what I did. And I had joined the group Dynasty back in '79, and so we were rehearsing, getting ready to do our first tour. The Solar tour, which was in 1980. So we started writing and going in the studio. And my first recording session was And the Beat Goes On.
Oh, you mean this one right here? And that's you on the ARP synth.
Yes.
Let that go for a little bit. And if I'm not mistaken, that's none other than Leon Sylvers on that bass. Oh, the bass lines that man came up with.
Yeah, he played a Rickenbacker.
Yeah, which is unusual for that time, right? Who was playing a Rickenbacker on that kind of music, right?
He played a Rickenbacker with flat wound nylon strings and put a sponge in the back of the bridge.
Wow.
So that's why he got that real dead sound, because of the sponge. The sponge kind of deadened the notes. So it just made everything real percussive. But only he could play, you know what I mean?
That's just, I love inside baseball stuff like that. And please, this is a place to nerd out on stuff like that, because I love stuff like, honest to God, where else are you going to get to talk about this kind of stuff? Because, we told you when you had you on we were bringing you on the podcast, this wasn't going to be the same 20 questions about what's it like working with Morris Day? What was it like meeting Prince? Because you have such a long storied career, all these different facets and your songwriting chops and your instrumental chops, that to me, that's what I want to know, because we haven't seen a lot of interviews where you talk about that trajectory.
Right.
Because you've got quite the journey there, man.
Yeah, most of the fans that know me with Morris just know that I'm with Morris, and so
Right.
I never really kind of came and said, hey, I did this and I did that. And so it just sort of kind of started filtering out. And then one time I think I put out my resume, if you will. And so when I put it out, then people were like, man, you did. And I said, yeah, I did, what's amazing to me is just that when I look at it in hindsight, I'm very fortunate and blessed to have done the things that I did do, and this is even before Morris, you know what I mean? And even being with Jimmy and Terry, man, and watching them evolve, man, into what they are, but we were all together, and, it's a great journey, man. And I really probably should have talked about it, or should talk about it more. You all are actually the first really for me to be coming on and doing this. So I really thank you for giving me the opportunity to do so.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? I've been wanting to do this for a minute, but schedules and stuff like that. And this is before Jay came on and we decided to co-host this thing together. But You're always, anytime either one of us have met you and the guys backstage, you're always so generous with your time, hanging out, chill. You let me play your Freezicle, albeit I play it upside down. I play it right-handed inverted. So,
Absolutely. It sounds the same no matter how you hold it.
That's right.
It's still funky.
But you know what? I don't have that sponge and the flat wound nylon strings on it.
Hey, man. I mean, look, let me tell you something. I recorded a song for Leon just maybe about 2 years ago. And I used the concept and put the sponge in the back and, gave me that real dead sound. And, man, he loved it. And then he went to work, man. And let me say this about Leon Sylvers. And I know Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam, if they're listening, will tell you the same thing, that they respect him and learn so much from him because of his way of producing records and vocals.
Wow.
Yeah. And Terry Lewis, man, let me tell you something. Terry is a beast. You all know, anything you listen to, that's Terry Lewis. And so he gives that, pays homage to our brother Leon Sylvers, man. But all of that stuff, man, it's just, we learned a lot. Let me just say that we all learned a lot from being with Leon, and so many of us came out of that camp, man, and did great things, really was great.
And Leon does not get enough flowers for all of what you just talked about. He doesn't. I mean, his production work from the late 70s up to the early 80s dominated R&B music, dominated the Whispers, Shalimar. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, and not to mention the fact that he's one hell of a bass player and arranger. And I find maybe you can talk a little more on this and your method of composition yourself, but was he your big bass mentor? I mean, the way he would write, when I've heard interviews with him, he talked about how he would come up with the vocal melodies, but the bass line wasn't trying to echo that. It was in not the root.
Yeah.
The bass was not the root. And like many other composers, I think Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys was actually the same way, where he would use the bass and compose harmonies, not using that as the root.
Yeah. Yeah. Leon played very melodic. He didn't play your traditional bass pattern. You know what I mean? It was very melodic. So it was always coming from a vocal place with him, you know, when he played bass line. I mean, I don't know if you know, but he wrote Misdemeanor. He wrote that.
Oh, and it's been sampled by like Dre and a lot of.
Right.
Oh yeah, come on.
I mean, so, and I'm saying he was like what, 18, 17 then,
Crazy.
and was, I mean, it was always very melodic because the Sylvers were really vocal anyway. So whenever he played a bass pattern, it was always real melodic, really real tight, and so we always learned how to play with, and around, and we kind of stayed out of each other's way. If you listen to any of the Solar stuff, everything was placed, nothing overlapped, you know what I mean? And but he was, man, oh my God, he was crazy, man. He was great.
And The Beat Goes On is a classical example of that, because with the construction of it, and I'm a classically trained musician, but when I listen to And the Beat Goes On, there's a symphonic kind of layering the way he does his productions, and that I mean, it's really impressive. Now I don't know this about you or him. Do you read and write music, or was everything learned by ear? And then later on went.
Everything is by ear for me,
okay.
and songwriting is definitely by ear.
Okay.
And the feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Freeze, I'm sorry. Yeah, I really just wanted to touch on that aspect of it. I apologize for interrupting, because I'm just interested in the experiences that you just shared and how that started to shape your songwriting and producing. And when you're working with other artists, how do you practically apply what you learned when you're coming up with your compositions?
Like anyone that's writing a song, you sort of you write what you feel, and if it feels good to you, you're hoping that whoever you're pitching it to likes the song. Everything with Leon that I learned, or that we've learned, was a hook. If the song don't have a hook, then you ain't got a song. Period.
Yeah.
You don't have a good hook, you don't have a song. I don't care how bad the music is and all the stuff around it. Without the hook, forget about it. So that was first and foremost with all of us. Anything that we wrote, it was that hook first. The verse didn't, the verse later, but let's get the hook with the track. Does it feel good? We had what was called, you remember the mini micro cassette players with the little small tapes?
He talks up. He had like 10 of them everywhere in his house, and the car and everything. Yeah.
So we called those lick savers. So if I had a track going, if I had a track going, I'm clicking, I'm singing it to the track. You know what I'm saying? And so then that's how we would structure, the hooks. But musically, it was always, because I started playing keyboards. So naturally, when I was writing, I just wrote a basic chord structure. Like I wrote this song. That was Adventures in the Land of Music.
Listen, and what an adventure you've had. You might have your noise suppression on when you're playing, but if you don't mind, I had that queued up right here for you. Those jazz chords. All that, and that's been sampled too. But who did the string arrangements on that? Was the same guy that did Don't Stop Till You Get Enough?
That was Benjamin Wright.
Yeah, Benjamin Wright is a legend in string arrangements back in the day, man.
He's incredible, man. When we did the track, like we just did the basic track, and so You know, we didn't know how the songs were going to shape out. Even when we did In the Beat, we did the music and we just loved it. It wasn't that it was going to be this or that. But when Benjamin heard it, he was like, watch what I do with this song. And man, when I tell you, it's been sampled. It's one of the most sampled songs from the Solar catalog.
Wow.
You getting some of that sample? You getting some of that sample paper from it?
Get a little something.
All right. Hey, listen. Hey, we just happen to have somebody calling in here. Hold on. There's something coming in here. Well, hello there. And who may I hold on. And who am I talking to, sir?
What's up?
Tori, freak juice.
We had a little surprise for you there, Ricky.
Ah,
got my frozen juice gear on.
Yeah, that's right.
I just came to give you some love, big dog.
hey man, you know, I love you, man.
Frozen juice in the house.
Man, let me tell you something. That man right there, Tori Ruffin, is my brother. Please understand that.
This is the twin. This is the twin.
Gotta know.
I just came up, give you some love, man, on your storybook, career. And a lot of people don't know this man. He keeps the time together. Now, a lot of this is some behind the scenes stuff I'm about to bestow on you guys. As a brilliant musician that he is, and incredible studio and everything he's done with music, he's also a leader, and he has a firm belief in God, and that keeps the time rolling over the last 30 years. Because with any relationship, guys, you have your it's hard enough getting two people to agree. Imagine 7 guys, and he's the backbone of it. That's what a lot of people might not know that I wanted to share today. And if it wasn't for him, this band would not have been rolling for 30 years, because we came close. There's been a couple of demises. So that's some inside hot takes from Frozen Juice. That's some hot takes right there. All right?
I love it.
So this man right there, everybody needs to be thankful for Ricky Smith right there. Love you.
Yeah. And while I got the two of you on here, and I told you we always shamelessly plug what you got here. So you guys both are endorsers and been longtime players of Schecter guitar brand.
Yeah.
And you've got the Freak Juice Strat, right? Custom. Yeah. And of course, Ricky, you've got the Freezicle bass.
Yeah.
Which I've had the honor of playing. Tori, at some point, if you got you do have a lefty model. I just have to have my strings upside down. That's all.
Oh yeah, we got you, buddy. And come see me, because I got that special Kurt Hoffman price only available. Yeah, so we've been happy because they've been doing so well. I know for me, I never in my wildest dreams thought I could get one. These are usually reserved for people who sell millions of records, but Schecter is such a great company. They looked at our history and what we've been doing with the time and what we do outside, and they said, yeah, these guys deserve their signature. And we designed some pretty incredible pieces. They've been selling. You don't even have to know who I am or what I do, but if you pick up that guitar, you're gonna get a lot of variety, tones, clarity. It's just a good piece, and they've been talking about both of our signatures on their website, because Schecter obviously has fans, and it's really been doing well. So we're really thankful for that, man. It's been a blessing. So come and get it.
Get it.
Come and get it. And you sold out of your first production line, did you not?
Yes, we did. Yeah, definitely. Now we got
incredible. Yeah, because I've seen a lot of people endorsing and promoting it. That bought both your Get Fiddles there.
Yeah.
Really
so let's keep it going. Prince and Juice Maker and Freeze Nations. Let's keep it going.
So when's the Frozen Juice album coming out?
We're waiting. Yeah.
There you go. We got to put out some music on that. It's coming. We're gonna do like really short snippets, maybe 3 songs. Maybe the 6 EP 6 songs are just pure Frozen Juice funk.
Oh, cool.
That's
cool.
great.
I was wondering, because I'm like, this is not just going to be a clothing line and stuff like that. I said, they got something up.
You got to have some music to support it, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
What,
we'll
Tori,
be promoting the hell out of it too, believe me.
Tori, while we have you, and thanks very much for coming on.
Yeah,
It's
man.
great to see you again. And after all these years, 20 plus years of you showing us love, you and Freeze both, we're extremely, extremely grateful. But while I have you both here, can you talk a little bit about working together? Your chemistry, your dynamic, writing together, playing together. What is that like from a relationship standpoint?
When I first got into band, it takes time to nurture a relationship, but Ricky and I quickly gravitated towards each other and working towards each other, and from my side, it's kind of been like, I've done sessions in LA, but I was aware of this history, and it's kind of like a mentorship. But I never really told him that, I couldn't really, but I always listen to what he's, his ideas and where that pocket's supposed to be, and because so it's been great. It's been great learning, and then I know from my side, I'm bringing more of a edgy, rock thing, and I think he appreciated it. So I don't know. You have to ask him, but it's been great. I think we learned from each other, grew from each other, and if I have to say anything, it's just been the work ethic, that this man brings is incredible. So I don't know if that answered your question.
It sure
Yeah,
did.
and let me just add too, because we're playing this music. The music is great, first and foremost. And so we came in and we're playing the music. Tori is ripping it, killing it, in his way, and that's what makes it great, because everybody plays different. No, everybody's not doing identically the same. It's like if you ever listen to Prince, like whenever Prince played with us, and he was playing cool, he never played like the record. He always played something different, you know what I mean? And so that's what makes the music great. Tori, I gotta say, is funky as hell. And I mean, he shreds it, and we both have a great chemistry together, visually and playing together. And that's what really makes it great. I think that's what Morris really loves about it. We have our own vibe, we have our own look, and personality, and all of the fans, the Purple fans, the Morris Day and the Time fans, they've embraced us all these years. So it's been really great, man. And, Tori and I were given the name called the Wonder Twins about maybe 20 years ago. And I can't remember who named it. They said, man, y'all the Wonder Twins, because we were just always together and just doing what we do, man. And let me say, people love this music. They're going to love it, man. I mean, Prince said it. He says, man, you ain't got to cut another record because they're going to love it forever. Mm-hmm. So we're grateful to be here, man. And the fans love it. And so we're blessed, man. We really are blessed.
And like I said, like Free said, the music is great. So we came in playing it like the music, but over the years, like I said, we developed our thing with it. And people have the biggest validation. It was from Prince. Prince loved us. You know what I mean? So, he's the man that created it, and he gave us our validation. So that was our green light, really, to keep doing how we're doing it and thing. Yes, the guys, the original guys are wonderful. I'm a big fan of Jesse's and Terry's, and of course, we love those guys, But like Free said, we put our own thing on it while still honoring the music, My job is not to sound like Jesse, but it's to sound like the music, and to give my own thing, because the solos on the record are great, but we, over the years, we put our own little thing on it, but still giving the fans what they want to hear, which Absolutely. Is recorded music. But you can tell, like Free, so I think the biggest where we get down and people can tell what we do is on that 777, where our personalities really come out.
That's great. That's great. And from a personal standpoint, just to share an anecdote, and you guys play a million shows, but I was at a sound check back in December of 2022 here in Connecticut, and my youngest daughter came with me. She came with me to sound check, and then she came with me to the show, and it was amazing how you know, obviously I've been into you guys for years and, you know, been a big supporter, and now bringing my youngest daughter, you know, who's now a new fan, you know, so the music, the music is the music. It's timeless, it's classic. But if you're showing that, you know, you love what you do, you know, it's great music, it's a great vibe. And now, you know, we're getting a whole new generation into that music. And that's because of you guys, you know. And so, you know, it's a blessing to me, and I'm sure it is to you all as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, look, guys, man, you know, I don't want to take up much of time. I know this
That's
is
okay,
an
man.
interview, so you know, I wanted to say I love all you guys. Rick, love you, brother.
You know,
Have a great rest of your interview, man. I'm got a little cold going on, so I'm gonna go ahead and lay it back down. I got my girl in from Spain, and you know, yay!
There
Oh,
you
tell
go.
Maite we said hello.
I will. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I will. I'll tell you guys, and we'll see you soon. Okay.
No, it's
Thanks a
care of
lot, Tori,
yourself,
for
man.
coming on, man. Feel better. And you have a
There.
gig tonight too, don't you?
I have a gig tonight, so I'm gonna lay it down. Freak Juice at the Whittier Bar.
Whittier.
We're gonna have some frozen juice and Freak Juice shirts out there, so come get them.
There you
Nice.
go.
All right.
All right. How do I get out of here now?
All right.
All
Take care,
right.
Tori. Thanks.
I love you guys.
Peace. Love you.
I'm trying to leave.
Well, we
Oh,
tried to
man.
throw you a little surprise.
That's great, man. I love Tori, man. I mean, we have some great things happening and some really amazing things that's getting ready to come up. So we're excited, man.
Can
Yeah.
you talk about those, or you want to wait till later down the road?
Yeah, I'm gonna wait because they give me a chance to come back on your show.
There we
Oh, I
go.
love. Well, listen, we'll have you anytime you want to come on, man. Anytime we can make this thing work, we would love to have you back on. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But I do have two questions though, and Jay, if you don't mind, that is while I was in, who gave you what? Where did you get your nickname Freeze?
It's funny you said you're asking that. I had Jimmy Jam just had me that last week. He said, "How did that name come about?" And really, it was my brother-in-law years ago. He just called me Ricky, and he just said Ricky Freeze, and you know, he was just always put Ricky Freeze in it. You know, like, oh, okay, cool, you know. And so when I finally got the gig with Morris, and so I made the separation from, you know, the Ricky Smith, and then with Morris, so that I kind of went out with Morris as Freeze, you know, and then so that was just a separation from my records and songs I've written, and then this other person, the Freeze, and so it just stuck, and Morris loved it, and so it kind of like parallel with Cool, and here's Freeze, and so it just kind of worked together, you know.
Cool.
Nice.
Okay, so okay. Cool. I've always wanted to know that because, like, I don't think I've ever heard you explain that. So the other one was how you first met Morris Day. How that whole thing came about.
Ooh, man, let's see. It was 1980. Was it 85 or 8? It was right when the Purple Rain movie was happening.
Okay.
And he came to LA, came to Los Angeles. And Leon, we had a studio up in Coldwater Canyon. And so Leon had told me, he said, "Hey man, Morris Day's gonna be doing a record, you know, and they want me to do some songs." I said, "Oh, great," you know. So Leon was like, "But, you know, I want you to do the tracks because, you know, you got that sound, right?" So I'm like, "Okay, great." So anyway, we're up at the house and Morris comes through the front door, you know, and he comes in with his manager at the time, Barry Josephson. So he comes in and he hangs out, you know, for a minute, and you know, and that was it. No music was played. It was just him talking to Leon and trying to figure some things out. And then so later, about a month or so later, I got a call saying that Morris wanted me to come and do some sessions for him for his first record. And I said, well, "Okay, sure." You know, I'd be more than glad, you know, and go up there, and didn't know that he requested me, you know, but I said, "Okay, yeah, sure, man." So I drove up and you know, I played on Love Addiction and Don't Wait for Me. Those are the first two songs that I played on, you know, with him, and didn't really know him, you know, but we were just sort of kind of vibing off of each other. And so I played those two songs, and then we kind of just we connected right then, you know what I mean? And after that record was done, or before the record was done, he'd ask, he says, "Hey man, would you be willing to, help me put a band together, And I'm like, "Man, yeah, of course, man." We put the band together, and went on a solo tour.
Wow. That's something
At
else.
Jay, I believe you have a program from that tour.
I do. And it's funny, when Freeze, the very first time we met, and I don't expect you to remember this, back in 2001, we were backstage at Foxwoods in Connecticut, and I actually brought the Color of Success program backstage. Morris signed it for me, and you guys were clowning him for the outfits and the hairdo.
Oh yeah.
It was a total blast from the past.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was great, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Morris was he was on a high, man. He was, coming off the movie, you know what I mean? And so things really happened for him. Really, he came out firing, And even though he and Prince had their differences or whatever, they still love one another, man, regardless of whatever people will tell you. They still love one another, man. And Prince had a way of, making fun, but love fun. You know what I mean? That's what I call it. I think it was on the Sign of the Times tour where he asked Jerome, "Hey man, what's that dance, Morris Scott?" He said Oak Tree, and he said Oak Tree. He says, "Yeah." He said, "We gonna chop that thing down."
Right.
But it was really, it was funny, but it was still out of love, though.
Yeah.
Let me just say that. You know what I mean? It was still, they still had love for each other, man. And people would tell it different, but I've been around them. You know what I mean? And so, we all go through things as friends, and things happen, but you genuinely love a person, and that's what's great.
Sure.
So.
Sure. Freeze, before we let you get out of here, I just have two quick questions for you. One was related to something that you told me back before that sound check a couple of years ago. And we were talking about you traveling and the number of gigs that you do. And you said something that maybe you can kind of expound upon. You said that the travel was the work, but the gigs were the fun.
Yeah, I mean, we spend more time, at airports and on the plane. If you're on tour buses, traveling from one city to the other, that's the work. You know what I mean? And naturally traveling can take a toll on you. You don't think about it. You don't look at it. You just get up early in the morning, you go to the airport and you hop on the plane and you go. And so, but you don't realize the wear and tear that it does. I mean, the performing part is the easy part. That's just, you come on stage and you work an hour, 2 hours, and you're done. You do your sound check and then you go back to your room and go to sleep and get up and do it all over again. So the work is really, and that's why it's important. And I'll say this: it's important to take care of yourselves out on the road. You know what I mean? It's really key for all of us musicians, no matter what age we are, to take care of yourselves, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it's work, something that we love to do, and we don't want to compromise anything.
Sure. Right.
There's nothing wrong with having fun, but take care of yourselves at the same time.
Yeah.
Nice. And Freeze, last question. We know we have to talk about the barbecue sauce. We have to. We can't let you get out of here without Uncle Ricky's. There it is.
You're always ready.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you can see it.
Right. We can see it.
Can you see it?
It fades in and out. It's the thing when you don't have a green screen, it gets fades in and out. But we'll put a plug out there.
Absolutely.
Oh, there it is.
Yep, there it is. And I can attest, the barbecue sauce is fantastic. Freeze, I bought a couple of shipments from you. I use it faithfully. Can you just very quickly tell us the impetus and how you came up with it?
Yeah, my mom again and I were selling barbecue dinners, believe it or not, and something that I love to cook. Mm-hmm. And so we were selling barbecue dinners, and we're making our own sauce. And she always told me, she says, "Rick," she says, "this will make room for you. If you do it, your cooking will make room for you." You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like that. I'm like, I'm doing music and I'm good, And so, God rest her. So after she passed away, I waited about a year and I thought about it and I said, let me just try it. let me just bottle it up and put some stickers on it and just see if people would like it. And it's been phenomenal, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, people love it. I know I'm onto something, and it's just a matter of time before, you know, it'll be in your grocery stores. But it's our recipe. It's something that we've come up with. I mean, there's a lot of barbecue sauces out there, you know, and there's a lot of good barbecue sauces out there. What makes mine different is it's got my touch on it. It's got my love on it. My mom's love is in this thing. And so that's what makes this one really special for me, man.
That's great. That's great.
I've yet to try it, but believe me, I'll be up there. I have a good buddy of mine who does a slow smoker. And our guitarist in my band, I have a Led Zeppelin covers band, Glenn Zeppelin, and Rob is a master when it comes to doing the smoking in the pit in his smoker. And man, that just sounds good right now.
That's good stuff.
Now I want pulled pork and greens, and whatever potato salad. I'm hungry.
Need some Uncle Ricky.
Make sure you have some frozen juice with it too.
Right? Oh yeah, to wash it down with. I keep telling Tori, you guys need to come up with a ready to drink beverage based on that.
Don't think we're not thinking about it.
I know. I'll be there. Listen, and I work in the wine and spirits industry, so if there's any way, a small way I can help with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're definitely gonna step out, man, and you know, sometimes we try things, and sometimes it's the things that you don't even think about, and it just happens. You know what I mean? Sometimes we work and say, "Oh, man, I want to do this," but sometimes it's the least thing that you think about, and it takes off. So it's gonna be fun.
Yep,
that's great.
Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on here and giving us a proper interview, because we got to give you guys your flowers, because you're a great guy to talk to, great human being, you know, spiritual person, but you know, and rooted in you know, such love and admiration and respect, and those cornerstones that seem to be a lost art these days. But you have given us so much music and memories. And speaking of barbecues, a lot of the songs that you've recorded on Solar Records is at many a barbecue playlist. I'm just saying, make that move, Shalimar. There's so many other questions I have for you down the road, but if you'll have us again, but just you are on a lot of barbecue and cookout playlists, man. And you know, and I just want to thank you for the music, man. Thank you.
And the memories, really, Freeze. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man, thank you all so much, man, and all the best to you. I really appreciate the opportunity, and you know, whenever, you know, we get together again and do it again, man.
You know it, and we're going to see you on the road soon.
If you like what you hear, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Share with a friend, share with a neighbor, share with a loved one. And on that note, Jay, take us out.
Okay. Once again, thank you for joining us, Ricky Freeze Smith on the Electric Vibe, and we'll see you all again real soon. Take care.